Hi and good morning, and welcome to Monday Mornings with Margie. This is our third episode. Very excited about it. Today we have Dr. Hisla Bates with us, and we are going to be discussing creativity. And creativity during the time we're in here with the COVID pandemic, but also when this is all done, how creativity can be a positive thing in our life. Now, before I introduce her, have her introduce herself, I just wanted to say that if I was listening to something about creativity, I may be tempted to turn it off because I don't see myself as a creative person. However, I want to ask you to pause and to really tune into this, because what I've learned as I've gotten older is that creativity isn't just about whether you can draw well or paint well or write well. It's really about a process and about allowing yourself to experience and be free with your thinking and your actions. And so I think it's a really cool thing to talk about. So, Dr. Bates, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, other than you're a friend of mine, to the audience?
Well, hi, Margie. Just want to say thank you for inviting me to the show. I'm a board-certified child and adult psychiatrist. I trained in Boston, and but I'm also an artist. So I'm a former fashion designer, and in the past 12 years or so, I've been doing a lot of printmaking and painting. And art has been a really important piece in my life. It's been a healing force for me. And so when we talk about creativity, a lot of people associate creativity with art. And creativity actually is more than just art. It's really a way of problem solving. It's about curiosity. It's about exploration and learning. And so, especially in this time of the pandemic, now's the time to really get creative. Now we actually have time. And we have to think about creative solutions in terms of how we're going to live our lives and ways in which we can do things differently. So creativity involves a wide range of things, and unfortunately, it's always connected with art, but there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I never really thought about creativity in the context of the pandemic and how we're going to have to be creative. We're already having to be creative, right, and think sort of outside the box with how we're dealing with things now and how we're going to move forward as things open up. So is there anything else that when you think about creativity and the meaning of creativity, or maybe what creativity means to you or has meant in your life, what would you say, or what would you share with people?
So to me, creativity is about curiosity, and that can come from taking a walk and really exploring, really looking at flowers or trees or your environment. And a lot of my creativity is around art and drawing. And the process of drawing actually helps me to be a better observer. So when I actually have to draw something, regardless of what it is, it could be a face, it could be a flower, I have to really look at that object or that thing. If it's an apple everyone thinks is red, but if you really look at an apple, it's got probably 15 colors in it. It has variations in texture, and so drawing and art help you to actually become a better observer over time. And the important piece to remember is that you don't have to be an artist, because the actual process of drawing, the actual process of hand to paper, it can actually have positive effects on your mood, and it can also help in terms of dementia, it can be preventative in a way
Hmm.
because it increases the sharpness of your mind the more that we're doing typing and technology,
Yeah.
we are less connected with our hands and our bodies,
Huh.
and drawing is like writing in cursive.
Mm.
That's all it is, really. It's putting marks on a paper, but people are afraid of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took one of your classes, and I was a little hesitant to do it, but I actually found it like relaxing and definitely sort of meditative. And actually, the product that came out at the end, although I wasn't focused on the product, was better than what I would have thought at the beginning,
Yeah,
which was just an interesting for me.
right. Well, I do these drawings with people who are physicians. With a lot of child psychiatrists have taken my workshops
Mhm.
at various meetings, the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry.
Mhm.
And some of the people enter the room terrified. It's like, oh
Mhm.
my God, I haven't drawn anything since I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And what happens is over time, over the 2 hours or 3 hours that they're in the workshop, they realize that they can do this.
Mhm. Mhm.
But somewhere along the line, when they were 8 or 9 years old, somebody told them they couldn't draw, or they
Sure.
weren't good, or they started comparing themselves to other people.
Yes.
And when you do that, you think it's a matter of talent. Oh, that person is very talented and I have no talent.
Right.
But it's actually a matter of continuously working on it. You
Sure.
become naturally better at it.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I think that happens early on in lots of areas where we kind of either place ourselves in a box or someone
Mhm.
else places us in a box.
That's right.
And for instance, like this past week, my son pulled out this kids pottery thing that my daughter got 3 years ago and never used. And my
Mhm.
son isn't sort of the artist in the group. He's more into sports and video games. And so I was watching him do the pottery, and at the end he said, I think I should just stick with video games. And I was like, no, like, I think it's amazing that you took the time, you took this pottery out, and you kept practicing to get it, to look the way you wanted to, and you took a chance.
That's right.
You did something that you don't feel as confident in. And so he kept working at it, even though kind of midway through he was sort of like, I don't think I got this.
Yeah.
So it was a cool thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because people want to get things right away. They want to be able to draw beautifully right away.
Right.
But if you gave your son a soccer ball for the first time, he's not going to be great right away.
Right.
It's going to come over time, and it's the same thing is true with art. But
Sure.
earlier you mentioned something that was really important. You mentioned the word meditative.
Mm.
And that's an important piece of art or drawing or painting or knitting or gardening, or cooking or baking.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is you enter into this state of flow where you're not thinking about time.
Mm.
And flow is a concept in positive psychology.
Mm.
And it really just means that you are so focused on what you're doing, you're enjoying it so much that you're not thinking about the outside world and you don't even hear anything. You don't hear sounds anymore. You're
Mm-hmm.
just actually so involved in that work.
Mm.
And that's a state of flow. And from those states of flow, you have more creativity evolving. So,
Yeah, I don't know if that applies to, like, I coach
it can
basketball and
apply,
baseball.
absolutely.
So when I'm coaching basketball, I feel like I always say I'm in a state of alignment when I'm coaching. And what's
Yeah,
interesting about that is after games, people will be like, did you hear that other coach yelling at his kids and
right.
blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I didn't hear anything.
That's
I
right.
literally don't hear anything because I am in the zone and I'm loving every second of what I'm doing in that, in that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, Margie, you just got it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's exactly it. When you're in the zone,
Hmm.
that's a state of flow.
Yeah.
And it's at those moments that you're most creative. And
Mm.
you said in the beginning, you don't consider yourself a creative person,
Right.
but you actually have to be creative
Hmm.
when you're designing plays,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
When you're in a basketball game, you've got to use your creativity in order to make the plays that are going to win the game, or
Absolutely.
make the moves, the better moves. So that's where you use your creativity.
Yes. No, it's a good point. It's an
Yeah.
absolute good point.
So
So I
you,
am creative. Who knew?
that's right. Everybody is creative,
Yeah.
and we all can get into those states. And creativity involves the entire brain,
Sure.
so you're using the right side and the left side, and that's that place of when you're in the zone is where you can find happiness and joy.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you are able to do that, the more you will see that in your life will become more enriched that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's also very healing, and it's very positive for your immune system as well.
That's good. We can all use better immunity right now.
We can all use it. But so many of us don't take the time to do those things that
Mm-hmm.
get us in the zone.
Right.
Right?
Right.
We are working, well, we were working
Mm-hmm.
before the pandemic in a way that we didn't take time to recover.
Yes.
We didn't take time to really be in that zone. So the pandemic actually can be a point where we can be in the zone from time to time,
Mm-hmm.
pick up some knitting needles and start knitting, or
Yeah.
whatever it is you wanted to do. Music is a great way of getting in the zone too.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So my kids just got TikTok on social media. So I threatened them that I'm going to do a video with them. And I think they're a little scared that I'm serious about it. But anyways.
It could be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TikTok is very addictive.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll monitor it.
Yeah.
We'll monitor it. Absolutely.
If I go on TikTok, I'll look at a few videos, and it'll be a half hour later. I'm like, oh my goodness, state of flow. Maybe I'm in a state of flow then too.
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking about just around that sort of creativity and flow, and I kind of think about freedom, or like feeling free. And so I was even thinking about, like, when I write,
Mm-hmm.
I actually have to say to myself, just write it unedited.
That's right.
Write what comes to you, and put it on paper, and don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about how it sounds right off, and let it out, and then go back after and do that. And if I try to write in a different way, it takes me forever. And my perfectionistic characteristics come out, and then I don't produce what I want.
That's right.
Versus when I just say, put it out, get it out of you, and then go back. Sort of allowing that process, a free process, to occur, and then adapting from there.
Yeah, that's actually how I do just about all of my writing. I start with stream of consciousness, or free writing, where I don't think about any of the editing, or, if you start editing yourself, you're going to stop yourself.
Right.
But if you keep writing, again, you end up in that state of flow, you end up in the zone, and the best stuff comes out usually.
Sure. Yeah.
After about a good, 10 or 20 minutes, you'll
True.
start really getting to the heart of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I guess my final question in all this, and we've kind of touched on it as we go along, but what if you were a viewer or listener of our discussion today, and wondering, like, you know, your mood is down or you're feeling anxious or you're feeling stressed, because a lot of us are feeling that way right now. We're trying to figure out how to manage it during this time. What are some suggestions you may have for people, sort of concrete suggestions of how they could use creativity right now while they're home and trying to get through this? And you've given some suggestions, but what else would you say at this point?
Well, I think the important thing is to take action, right? Nothing's going to change if you stay on the couch and feel sorry for yourself, right? So you're going to have to take baby steps and take action. That's the only way you're going to start feeling better. And there are a number of ways in which you can take action. You could start by doing some of, you know, I have examples of some of the meditative drawings.
Yep.
Full, repetitive line drawings where you're not really thinking about the end product and you're just really kind of following, making these little designs, doodles, whatever you want to call them. That can get you into a state of flow. And that can help relax you. I think meditation is fantastic. And there are lots of apps that you can use that can help you learn how to meditate. Oftentimes people think meditation is just, you know, sitting, you know, for 20 minutes still. And yes, that is a form of meditation, but there's so many ways in which we can do that. And breathing is also very important. And writing, free writing, you've got to take action if you want to feel better. And also gratitude, extremely important. To just think about 3 things you're grateful for, and not superficially, but 3 things that really have sparked you during the day. And those brief moments.
Yeah, because there, you know, even in the context of what we're going through, there is a lot to be grateful for. And you just, you know, in my previous episode, we talked about sometimes you have to look for it. Sometimes it's not, you know, always right there for you, and you have to actually look around to find either good things, kind things, or, you know, what are things to be grateful for right now, especially in a time that we're in.
Yes, if you really think about gratitude, it helps you to look for the positive things in your day. Our brain loves negativity, loves the news, right? And that's how they catch us, you know, because it's a protective thing. We have to look for the negative things in order to protect ourselves. I know we need to end soon, but if you think about, you know, if you think about red cars, for instance, and you're driving on the highway, you're going to see nothing but red cars. And it's the same thing with gratitude. If you start thinking about, okay, what's happened to me that's positive today, you will start noticing these positive things more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that.
Yes.
Well, I'm grateful for you. You're going to be one of my my 3 things I write in my gratitude journal for today. And I appreciate you taking the time today to talk with me and to the listeners. And I admire you for, you know, all the different things you've done in your life and the paths you've taken, you know, to do what's best for you. And it's not always easy to make big changes in your life, especially in our field that's about taking care of yourself. So you're a role model for me, and you're a role model for lots of other people out there. So
thank you, Margie. I appreciate it. And if people want to know more about me, they can find me at drhislabatesmd.com. That's drhislabatesmd.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to all our listeners. I hope you have a great week and be well. Take care.
Okay. Bye now.